meeting called to order. All members present. No one for public comment or hearing session. Adjourned to closed session. Reconvene to open session. Please follow Martha in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Report on action taken in closed session. There was no action taken. Call for an adoption of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Programs and presentations. Our first presentation is student recognition. Mr. Mark Bush and Mr. Clay Pierce. Mrs. Maxfield?
Can I touch it?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, is it on?
I think it's on.
It's on. Oh. Okay. All right. Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Kern and guests. It is my privilege and honor to introduce you to Mr. Clay Pierce and Mr. Mark Bush as the newest recipients of the American FFA degree. In order to receive their American degree, they had to meet the following requirements: receive their state FFA degree, participate in FFA activities at the chapter, section, and region, as well as the state level, earn at least $10,000 from their supervised agriculture experience project, and have a record of outstanding leadership abilities and community involvement by participating in officer teams, committees, and earning a minimum of 15 hours of community service. The American degree is the highest degree achievable in the National FFA organization, and the American FFA degree shows an FFA member's dedication to his or her chapter and state association. Less than 10% of FFA members across the United States achieve this honor.
As recipients of the Greenham chapter and state FFA degrees, you were encouraged to advance to the American FFA degree. Through your untiring efforts, you have now succeeded in attaining a significant goal. This honor carries with it additional responsibilities, and we look upon this occasion as a milestone in your achievement in agriculture. Your vision has expanded beyond the limits of your community and the confines of your state until it reached the broad horizons of the great United States of America. Therefore, you are expected to set a worthy example of progressive agriculturalists and to exert leadership in local, state, and national affairs.
I challenge both of you to continue your demonstrated faith in agriculture. Always be proud to work in the industry of agriculture and value your achievements. With all virtues of independence, in through and actions, be mindful of your individual limitations and your vital need to cooperate with your neighbors in the large businesses and social activities which you have become an essential part of society. Remember, in union there is strength.
On behalf of the National FFA organization, I confer upon you the American FFA degree, together with its honors and privileges. Congratulations. I will now present you with your golden key and your American degree.
Wait, let Jamie get one. Go ahead, Jamie.
And Mark. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good job, well done. Well done. Congratulations. Now we have our first employee recognition. Mrs. Marianne Maxfield. Miss Rachel Angel, principal, will recognize Miss Marianne Maxfield.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, Cabinet, and community. It is with great pleasure tonight that I present two awesome educators to you. First, I would like to present Mrs. Marianne Maxfield. She is the recipient of the Southern Region Teacher of Excellence for Agricultural Teachers. During her tenure as an agricultural teacher at PV, she has helped build a robust ag program with almost 50% of our student body participating in FFA and ag classes. Mrs. Maxfield has assisted the Blythe FFA in earning 13 state degrees, 2 American degrees, 2 state qualifying proficiencies, and 1 regional job interview winner. With her help, the Blythe FFA now has an annual community service events including Blythe Cleanup Days, FFA canned food drives, agricultural literacy readings through our local library, and the annual sock drive to help collect socks and other essential items for our homeless population. Mrs. Maxfield possesses a number of qualities that make her a dynamic, student-centered educator. She supports her students on a daily basis and gives countless hours of her personal time to ensure students are successful, not only academically, but also with the responsibilities of raising their animal projects. Mrs. Maxfield's expertise and knowledge is vital in guiding the students to academic and personal growth success. She is moving on to compete at the state level, and we wish her all the best at this next stage. You are appreciated, Mrs. Maxfield, for all that you do for the students and staff of Palo Verde High School. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Marianne.
We wish her all the best in this next step.
All right. Our next employee recognition, Miss Genevieve Hahn.
My athletic director. So next I would like to present Miss Genevieve Hahn. She is the San Diego section recipient of the Norm McKenzie Award for Outstanding Athletic Director through our California State Athletic Directors Association. This award is presented to athletic directors who have served in this field from 1 to 4 years. Ms. Hahn is a dynamic athletic director. She has revamped and streamlined the Palo Verde High School athletic program. She collaborates with coaches and supports them when necessary. Under her leadership, student athletes have worked hard to be eligible to participate in the variety of sports programs we have each season during the school year. She promotes pursuing victory with honor in sports and school, and you'll hear her say that quite often to the students. She states that student athletes need to commit to Yellow Jacket athletics, prioritizing time management, dedicating themselves to working hard, and making responsible decisions. Ms. Hahn is extremely organized and goes above and beyond to support, implement, and maintain a strong athletic program at Palo Verde High School. The amount of hours she puts in to keep the program running is unbelievable at times. Please know that we appreciate you and are super proud of you, Ms. Hahn, for all of your accomplishments. You rock.
Congratulations. Right. Congratulations. Everybody a second here. That was great. I think that's the most people we've had in the boardroom in almost 2 years. That's great. Wonderful. All right, now we have Miss April Smith for our employee recognition.
Good evening, board and community. I'm excited to be here again tonight to recognize some more of our staff members here for the Palo Verde Unified School District for going the extra mile, and I'm really excited for the people that continue to turn these in. I just really appreciate that. First, I'd like to recognize V. Juarez from the high school. She's a registrar. V is being recognized for the superpowers of teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. Gabby De La Pena from Appleby, she's one of our paraeducators. She is being recognized for having the superhero powers of teamwork, kindness, respect, service, excellence, and inclusion. We also have Constance Fergoso from the high school. She's a dropout prevention specialist at the high school. Constance is being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. We also have Ashley Fabinich. She's a long-term sub that was subbing at the high school as an attendance clerk, and she's been doing that for the majority of this year anyway from the high school. And Ashley is being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. We also have Lois Schaefer from the district office being recognized. Lois is being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, service, excellence, and relationships. We also have Mary Sanchez from the bakery being recognized tonight from our nutrition department. Mary's being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. We also have Ron Davidson being recognized, and Ron is our delivery driver for the warehouse. Ron is being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. Lady Sanchez from the bakery is also being recognized today. She is being recognized for teamwork, kindness, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. And we also have Shalina from the nutrition department. Shalina Melgarejo. I had to practice. Shalina is being recognized for teamwork, respect, equity, service, excellence, innovation, relationships, and inclusion. So I'm very excited to be here tonight to share that with everybody. And again, thanks to everyone that's submitting them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to everyone. So for our next presentation, we have our 2020-2021 PVUSD Financial Audit Report with Mr. Scott Gustafson.
Get your back.
Oh, I thought maybe I was looking at the wrong side. Is it logged on yet?
Couple minutes.
You're on mute.
I can't hear you. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes. Okay. You're on. Go ahead.
Okay. Am I on? Ready?
There you are.
All right.
Yes,
Perfect.
go ahead.
1 second. Let me share screen. Oh, disabled. No big deal. I can just, briefly go over the audit. Don't need to share screen necessarily. Thank thank you for having me, everybody. Thank you for having me remotely. This is interesting times, and I appreciate the effort on everybody's part to kind of make all this work. I know it's always a drive to get out there, and so it's nice to not be able to have to always do that if we can. So, if you have a report in front of you, on page 88, I'll kind of talk about the summary of auditors results here in a second, but just to update you on kind of new areas of the audit this year. Really the biggest change we saw with the audit was what we refer to as GASB 84. So there was a new GASB implementation. Some of you may have noticed that when reviewing the report, kind of referred to a restatement. There was a note as far as that restatement is concerned. And so, to that effect, it wasn't anything that really, wasn't expected. It was really more about the ASBs and just kind of a slight change in how we're accounting for the ASBs within the audit report. Not any operational change or anything like that on the district's end, but just kind of how they're presented within the financial statements. So now again, if you have page 88 in front of you, you'll see the summary of auditors results. And again, this year, all opinions were unmodified. We did have a material weakness to the financial statements, and I can go over that in a second, kind of give a little more context to that, but not something we have any concerns about, and not something that we, have any, thought that it's an issue going forward. It actually was kind of related to that GASB 84 implementation, if I recall correctly.
Scott, you
yes.
should be able to share your screen now.
Oh, perfect. I will do that. How's that? Everybody see that?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. So this is the summary of audit results I was referring to. And again, for the financial statements and other opinions, all unmodified. We did have the material weakness, which I will go over a little more detail in a second. The federal awards this year specifically, and this is again the testing related to your expenditures over any federal revenues that are received throughout the year. We looked at the Title I as well as some of your COVID funds this year, the Coronavirus Relief Fund dollars that were spent. And so we didn't have any issues with any of the compliance or expenditures related to those programs as your major programs this year. And you'll see at the bottom here the state compliance, and again, an unmodified opinion. And so that relates to, actually a little more specifically, oops, sorry, let's scroll up slightly. All the various state compliance requirements. So on page 86 here, you'll see all these different areas that that state compliance opinion encompasses, and whether or not we perform procedures. So for all of the different areas that we would have performed those procedures or been required to, we had no issues, no findings, no non-compliance, nothing like that to note. And then going back down a little bit past 88, I think it's actually the next page, on page 89. This is the material weakness. And so really all this was because there was an audit adjustment. So, the audit standards basically require that anytime you have what we would call a material audit adjustment, you really should present a material weakness. And what that effectively means is, that an adjustment that should have been made to the financial statements when they were booked or when they were prepared originally got missed. And so, there had to be some type of a control breakdown there. Now, the reason why I said earlier, this one really doesn't, within the context of things, doesn't have any concern on our end, is this was related to GASB 84. And it was related to bringing, the entries onto SACS when in the past they hadn't been. And there was some confusion, throughout the county a little bit on how that procedure was to take place. And so we did have audit adjustments in that area. I don't think it was anything that the district wasn't kind of aware of already and that we weren't already aware of, but I would kind of put this in the category more of a technicality in terms of how we have to present this. And so don't expect to have it going forward, because again, it really kind of coincided with because of the changes due to the GASB implementation, we sort of had this issue pop up. And yeah, that's about it, but I'll keep it at that, but happy to go into anything if anybody has any questions.
I don't have any. Yeah.
Diana?
That's a clean audit report.
No further questions? No, Scott, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Moving on to our hearing session, we have none this evening. Reports and communications, board member report. Dr. Guth?
I have nothing to report.
Martha?
Yeah, I would like to say on Friday I was able to visit the Twin Palms High School site. During my visit, I was able to tour the new Scorpion's Den, and during my tour, I ran into the counseling and witnessed the session that they were having with the restorative practice counselors. The students were engaged and enjoying the session that they were having. When I spoke to Ms. Browder, she said the students are really taking to the counseling and they're enjoying it, and also thanked us for approving for these counselors to come down and visit the students and have a one-on-one with them and being personal. So I'd like to say thank you to Twin Palms and good job to Ms. Browder, Narciso Pedrosa, the teachers, and all the staff.
Diana? Sunny?
Yeah, I attended the football banquet. It was very nice. And one thing I really impressed me was that, they didn't honor just individuals, but they also honored just about everybody that was associated with the team. And one thing that really stood in my mind was that they were really, said it was the won the championship because of teamwork. And you know what? I rarely do I hear that, because that's true. It's a matter of teamwork that they went so far. And not only those that played, but those who also supported those players, the parents, the sponsors and stuff like that. But this was all brought out in the banquet, and it was very impressive to me because it emphasized teamwork. And I think that's true in just about every case, but in this case, it's the first time I went to a banquet where they almost noted everyone, even from the person who delivered the water to the people taking the videos. They were all noticed as part of the reason why the championship got as far as it did. I think it was a really good banquet. I want to thank everybody that helped put that on.
I have nothing to report. The superintendent's report.
I wanted to let you know that Footsteps to Brilliance is ready for us to move forward with onboarding for our district, so that's pretty exciting. This program, as you remember, is for any youth member in our community, but in particular for our students. It's to support bilingual literacy as well as literacy in general, and is free over the next 5 years. Thanks to Dr. Gomez, the superintendent of Riverside County Office of Ed, for providing this free literacy program to us. So we are scheduling an introductory kickoff Zoom this next week so we can start this exciting initiative. Also, the 2022 superintendent's news publication was released from RCOE and has arrived. PVUSD has highlighted how our staff as a whole has gone the extra mile to support our students and our community, and we're really thankful for our staff, and so that is in the article for this publication. Also, February 7th through 11th is National School Counseling Week, and we appreciate our school counselors and all their great care of our students and supporting our students. A reminder, and I'll give a updated informational email about this as well, but this Sunday, February 6th, the Western Accreditation for Schools and College, or WASC, visiting committee is scheduled to meet with cabinet and any school board members that would like to attend from 4:30 to 5 p.m. This will be via Zoom for a brief introduction session as they go through their process. I'll send a updated email and link for your benefit.
It's on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where would we be for the Zoom?
You can just do a link out of on your own computer.
Okay, you'll feed that to us. Okay.
All right. Okay. Next we have our fiscal update report. Mr. Sanchez?
There you go, it went on.
Check and community. Not a whole lot to report for the fiscal update tonight. We finished the second interim financial period yesterday. So there'll be the second interim report coming to you guys in about a month. My projected date to present is gonna be March, I think it's March 1st, the first board meeting in March. Want to just also use the opportunity to say that I'm really proud of my teams, the nutrition team, the transportation team, just for kind of keeping everything going during the month of January. It was a very tough month for the district, both in staff and student attendance. And we were able to maintain services pretty well across the board. So I just want to take the time to publicly acknowledge anyone on our teams that helped along with that. And then just to speak, I spoke a little bit about the audit last week, but since it's actually on the agenda this week, I just want to kind of explain from our perspective what we think happened. So the GASB rule was a new rule, and it was previously, we didn't have to put the ASB financials into our reports. This last year was the first time that we had to do that. And we had to enter all the ASB activity into SACS manually. And when I went to plug the beginning balance, once we're done with the financials, we run an error check, and then it will tell us, you know, there's a fatal error, there's warning errors, there's different kinds of errors. But for whatever reason, when we were coding the beginning balance, it was kicking an error out to us. And I don't know what was happening in the world, but we took the beginning balance out, it cleared the error, and then we filed the report. And that's really what happened. So I've talked to the auditors about, I guarantee I'm gonna run into this again next year. When we code the beginning balance, I'm expecting to have a problem, but they said, just give them a call, they'll help us through it. And so that's really what it was. Otherwise, the audit was clean. Also proud of my team for that work, because it was our first time doing it alone, and by and large it went well, except for that one little glitch. So that's it for the fiscal update. Any questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Milton. All right. Reports of associations? We have none this evening. Moving on to our consent items. Items listed under the consent calendar motions are considered to be routine and are acted on by the governing board in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board requests specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. It is understood that administration recommends approval of all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the governing board shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended. L1 personnel report shall be voted on as a separate item. L1 personnel report 2021-22-11.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, call for a motion on items L2 through L5.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Action items. M1, readmit case number 2122R-00. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M2, approval of 2020-2021 PVUSD annual financial audit report. Call for a motion.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M3, approval of first Head Start budget revision for the 2021-2022 year. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M4, approval of Follett Destiny Resource Management Agreement. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M5, approval of quote from Insight Public Sector to replace classroom printers. Call for a second.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just had a comment. Do we ever produce a schedule for rotating these printers out instead of buying them in mass? Because it seems to me they're all going to go out at the same time, and then we have to buy them again.
Yes, we hope to begin that schedule with this one.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Alex. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M6, approval of 2021-2022 school accountability report cards. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M7, approval of a new position, one custodian. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Questions or comments?
I just had a comment, you know, it's time that we increase our custodial staff. When I worked for the district, we had 18 custodians. When Prop 13 failed or whatever, it came into existence, we went down to 12 custodians. And we started out with 250,000 square feet to cover, to clean. In a few years, it went up to 350,000 square feet with only 12 custodians. And we did this for years and years and years, and believe me, to add another custodian, to me, it's long due. And this is probably the second one we've added, isn't it? I think it is. But just the only thing is, I like to see custodians maybe look at their scheduling and make sure that it's efficient. Everyone is spread equally and clean equally, and then maybe look into new ideas, which is not new ideas, as a team concept or some kind of concepts that make the custodial more efficient in their work. I just kind of glad to see another custodian added to our team. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? M8, approval of new position 1, temporary senior clerk. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Discussion information items. N1, discussion and update Palo Verde High School football program. What, Tracy? Mr. Grant?
All right, disclaimer, I'm not very good standing still and talking, so bear with me as I go through this. I'm used to being mobile when I do this. First of all, I'd like to thank the school board, cabinet, for allowing me this time. I know you guys are busy. This whole area is busy. This is in no way a selfish request on my part. There are some very important elements that a freshman-only program brings not only to the school, but to its players and to the community. One of the biggest benefits of playing a freshman-only program is the friendships made in the days, weeks, months before school even begins, because we start our summer program. In just a few short time, they, along with their new teammates, can cement friendships and make a bond that makes the first day of actual school go so much easier for them. And if it's easier for a group of 20, 30 kids, the rest of that freshman community kind of sees the relaxation level of that first day jitters and sees how that's calm, and they kind of generate towards them, and it kind of makes that first week of school just a much more pleasant experience than it, and it's already a pleasant experience, but the nerves that are surrounding going to a new campus, going there with older students that have been there, it just helps that transition smooth a lot easier. Football creates a special bond, and that's just because it's a sport where you cannot hide. You might be doing great until a certain play knocks you down. And as a football player, you don't get up alone. You have your whole team with you, because at some point they've all experienced that. And that bonding that starts in the summer and those friendships all come to that point. Accountability and discipline start at the freshman level. Some of these benefits I've touched on, and I will touch on more as this proceeds. But they carry out not only that freshman year, but throughout their high school experience. Accountability and discipline on the football field carries over to the school, campus, and to the classroom. This accountability and discipline will help decrease school altercation, classroom disruption, because they know they have something that they're enjoying and they don't want to lose that. And so it helps, for lack of a better term, put the carrot out in front of them. It can be as easy as being on time to practice this accountability and discipline, or maybe as difficult as learning a new play. And all this translates to what's going on in their school experience. The discipline on the football field carries over to all aspects of life, and it's hard to learn. But what a better time to deepen your understanding of it than as a young person. Accountability is key to discipline. If players know that their teammates are counting them to keep their grades up in order to play, it motivates them not only on the football field, but on the campus. These lessons learned on the football field and through the team and through life are continuously changing. But the accountability, the discipline, and the rigor set in day out, again, carries over. And not just through school, but as they continue to grow in life. I obviously have a love for this sport, and I coach because I want to share that love with the younger generation. And that love, again, is not just football, but the lessons learned that they can carry on throughout their life. The year before I was hired to run the PV football program, there was one game in particular that the coaches always seemed to talk about. And we had two freshman kids playing on the JV team that, due to the contact on separate occasions, were unfortunately hurt and had to be ambulanced out. That needs to be addressed, and we can address that by making sure that our freshmen are playing against freshmen, and they're not playing on the JV team where the age gap may be 3 years. We have 13 and 14-year-olds playing against 16 and 17-year-olds in some cases, and that's just not a level playing field, and we have a chance to level that playing field. The PV football program would like 14-year-olds to practice and play against 14-year-olds. And if it's allowed in my program, our freshmen practice and play against freshmen. We don't bring them up to go play against the varsity. Wholeheartedly don't believe in that philosophy. If I've got a young kid that's trying to learn this, not only to be comfortable in pads for the first time, but understand the techniques that are being coached, I'm doing a disservice by throwing them up against varsity level players to practice. That won't happen. They will practice and play separately. They'll be under the umbrella of my supervision, doing the exact same things we're doing at a more basic entry level. But all the techniques, all the verbiage is the same. So as they're moving up the chain from freshman to JV to varsity, it's all the same. The difference is the speed, the strength, all that happens a heck of a lot quicker as they move up. In closing, I and the PV football team would like to thank you for this time. If the COVID pandemic has given us two silver linings, it's that no football team for the past year and a half has had off-season programs because it's all been canceled. So we haven't had that, but now they've taken it away from everyone else, and it leveled the playing field, and our accomplishments this year were a benefit to that. You guys, again, and I thank you, we've started the off-season process along with the other schools, so we're closing that gap. The next thing it did is it canceled the lower level programs for a year, so that's helped us level the playing field. All the other schools that were going to play in the preseason and in the regular season, their freshman programs were put on hold. We didn't have one, so it's leveled that playing field. We have a chance to close that gap again. And as we've accomplished this success, the level of our competition is only going to be stronger. As I'm trying to get our schedule for next year, being out here, way away from everyone's hard enough to get teams to come out here. But we weren't winning as a program. They were willing to do it because they knew they were going to get, there was a good chance for them to get that win. It's not guaranteed anymore. So now The teams that we played in the preseason aren't renewing those contracts. So now we're getting the D2s and D3s that are wanting to play us. And as long as we continue to have that success, those programs have 3 levels: freshman, JV, varsity. Some of the D2s and Division I schools have 4 programs. They have a freshman, a sophomore, a JV, and a varsity. We don't need that. We need the 3 because we're going to continue to get better. So is our competition. And with that, again, I want to thank you guys, and I will close it and open it up to questions, I assume.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Grant. Any questions from any of the board members?
I have some comments. You know, I've always believed in that when we had to eliminate the freshman team, I opposed it at that time because it is a good program. It also helps out within the community when you have people like the Rec Center and the Hornets. That was a good organization that moved themselves up to the freshman team. I mean, you would have had a great amount of people going into the freshmen from the Hornets. They played very well, but they couldn't advance anymore. And my idea is that we need to bring back freshmen not only for football but for the other programs. I also like to see us at the middle school level with athletic programs. You know, I keep telling people back when I came to this school year, we had cheerleaders, we had football, we had baseball, we had basketball, we had all these programs, you know, and it's not only it makes a better team as you get to the high school, but God, it makes those students more, like you said, you know, more responsible, better at learning and stuff, and more disciplined, and we've lost that, you know, and because of money issues, we always say, but you know, we got to forget about that and think about these kids now and let them progress like they can, because in this community, you know as well, there's very little to do. But when they play with the Hornets or the Rec Center, they're doing things, but they cannot. There's no place for them to move up to. So it ends at their 7th or 8th grade level. And I like to see additional programs. You know, start with the freshmen. I think it's great. I think it's going to help this community and this district and our students. And bring more pride into this community.
I agree.
Anybody else?
Coach, what do you need to implement a freshman-only program?
From
Money
a
for
financial
transportation.
standpoint, all right, so equipment, which we would need an additional 10 helmets and 12 shoulder pads, which you're looking at, helmets cost $300 to $350 a piece. So let's go the top end at $350 times 12, you're looking at about $4,200. Shoulder pads run for the top end about $185. 12 of those, you're looking at about another almost $2,000. So you're looking at about $6,200 for the equipment part. In terms of the cloth, our practice stuff, everything funnels down. So every couple years when the varsity orders a new set of home and away, the previous year goes down to the JV goes down to the freshman. So you're never ordering 200 sets of cloth because that all gets trickled down. So again, the cost in that area is negligible. Is that the word I'm looking for? All right, so in terms of our equipment, we're pretty blessed in what we have with practice gear, what we have on the field. The Yellow Jackal Booster Program does a great job of raising the money to get our sleds and all that stuff. But you're looking at 12 additional helmets, 12 additional shoulder pads, and so you're looking at anywhere from $6,200 to $10,000 maybe to start it. And then the reconditioning is all funneled in through.
Hey, how about personnel?
You would need one more stipend. So you'd have that freshman coach, that would be the stipend freshman coach. And that would be, and I don't know what the stipends are, but that would, you know, $1,500 or whatever that stipend is. That would be an additional cost. I've been blessed and from what I've understood in the past, the community support is phenomenal. Now, where I've been at in my previous other stops, you've had 15 coaches that were stipend. There was no volunteers, they were all stipend. So you'd have 3 at the freshman level, 2 at the sophomore level, another 2 at the JV level, and then 6 at the varsity level. That, in my 3 years here, finding coaches that are qualified hasn't been a problem. So an additional stipend would definitely help, and that way that person understands you're on transportation, which is the next big funding. That's the elephant in the room, but he would understand, or she would understand, you have to travel and make sure you're the one that's responsible for getting those kids on and off the bus. Transportation, now this is out of my area of expertise, but you will need, you have 5 away games. So you will need an additional 5 trips on a bus. And I don't know what the cost is, I couldn't tell you. You guys know that better than I do. But, so yeah, that'd be an additional driver 5 times a year and an additional bus. Now, the football program can help, because we can help raise the money to offset that transportation issue. If I know ahead of time, come January, February, that the football program needs to raise an additional $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is, and give me that 4-month window, we can help offset that. That should never be an issue. So that I can offer.
And there's other schools that will provide competition?
Yes, so when I looked at our schedule, and I used last year as an example, so our 5 preseason games, they all had freshman teams. I look at our league, Holtville has a freshman team. Calapat has a freshman team. Actually, the only one that doesn't have a freshman football program is Vincent Memorial. So the neat thing about freshmen, and I don't care if it's Mater Dei Catholic or if it's Palo Verde, finding freshman football games is not that difficult. And the level of competition's already been pretty much leveled out. They're playing 14-year-olds, we're playing with 14-year-olds. And so we would probably need, to start the year, you're probably looking at a 5-game freshman level this year, just to get the ball rolling. Get the word out that freshman football is freshman football, because that, in the summer, I've had some parents and some of my 8th graders at Margaret White say, Mr. Ray, I'm going to sit out my freshman year because I'm not comfortable playing at the JV level. And then all of a sudden their freshman year passes, they've gotten interested in other things, or their grades are lacking, and then I see them, well, why aren't you, well, I lost interest, all right. Grades are an issue. And if I would have had them as a freshman, I don't think I would have lost them.
Would they travel with the varsity and JV?
They would travel, so in our non-league schedule, the varsity and freshmen play same thing. We'd play home games. Now they play on Thursday, we would play on Friday, but our home game's the same home game, JV's opposite. In our league, it flips. In our league, they play on Wednesdays. So in the Desert League, the freshmen play away, varsity and JV would play at home, or we would flip like that. But yeah, depending on the league, in the southern section's different in terms of Thursdays are the freshman JV games, one home, one's away, and then the varsity plays on Friday. So depending on what section, if you're in San Diego, they do it one way, southern section, they do it a different way. It all works, it's just figuring out what section you're playing so you know if it's a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Martha? Diana?
Well, I was, the same questions that Dr. Guth asked are the questions, and actually, Mr. Grant actually, you know, he answered a lot of what I had written down. I wanted to know, do other schools have, in our league, have freshman football, and you answered that. And then my other thing was the cost. You know, we've got equipment, we've got uniforms, we've got coaches, transportation, and you went into all of that. And then the other thing that I was going to ask was, you know, the days or the nights that the freshman team would be playing, and you just answered that as well. One of the things that I would just like to say is that comment on is I feel that it's something that would be very beneficial. It would be very, very beneficial. There is a lot to do in Blythe if the students got involved, but there's not a lot that the students like to be involved in. And it seems that sports is something that, you know, is a calling to many of the students that we have in this community. And I feel that freshman football actually, especially students coming from elementary straight into high school, freshman football would be something that would be great because, as you mentioned before, they're going to be a team. It's unity. So, you know, you're going to stick together, and something that I've seen throughout the years, my brother, I have 9 brothers, but they were all football fanatics, and I've seen as they played football, it's that they build these relationships with each other. And if someone on the team is not doing well, they're going to do everything that they possibly can to help that one, so that they can, you know, you're not doing well in that class, let me help you so that we can, you know, we need you. So, you know, I feel that it's something that would be very beneficial to not only the school but to the community as well, because as they continue to move forward, we have a better opportunity to build stronger teams. So, and you know, that's one of the things that we need. We need to be able to support the students. That's what we're here for. You know, we want to encourage them that it's not just sports, but along with sports comes the education. Right. So in order for them to be able to play, they have to be doing well. And if they're not doing well, then you know, they're going to have to sit the bench, or, you know, they're not going to be on the team. But you know, as for myself, I feel that it would be something that would be great.
Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit, Miss Angel, Miss Hahn, they've done a great job in establishing our academics and our bi-weekly grade checks. And then the teachers at Palo Verde are unbelievable because they're spending time opening up their classrooms after school for their tutoring. So if our kids are having academic issues, football takes a timeout and they're funneled into where they need to go to get that extra support. And starting that at the freshman level becomes another big caveat to bringing this all together.
Coach, I would recommend that you work with your athletic director, your principal, and Mr. Sanchez, and put pencil to paper and come up with a cost, what it would cost, and bring it possibly before the board. I'm feeling that I'm hearing there's a positive feeling among the board members.
Yeah, as everybody knows, I'm a huge supporter of athletics, and also a huge supporter of building an athletic program, not necessarily an athletic team. So I don't think freshmen should play varsity, because then you lose that ability to build the team and the relations. And so I think it's a wonderful concept. I do think we need to look at it in some of our other sports too. My girls played volleyball, and I know most of the volleyball teams had freshman teams. So as Dr. Guth said, I think the direction of the board is unanimously that it's something that we all support. Finances are an issue here, so it's something that we've got to thoroughly look at, but you definitely have the board's backing on doing that. So next steps, Tracy?
Yeah, so we'll bring it in a future action item with a projected budget for the board to be able to approve as an action item.
And a funding source.
Yes, with the funding source.
That kind of a thing. Good. We're time frame. Are you looking at this spring?
Yes. Yeah, I would like to get it started. It would work out. I've got 22 juniors coming back, so There's not many off the JV that's coming up, so that program's stable. So these kids that are coming up are, without a shadow of a doubt, freshmen only, not having to bounce back and forth. So it works out that this would be a great year to implement it without any hiccups.
As you started out, you talked about someone got hurt that was a freshman playing against the big guys. And so it's really a safety issue as well here. I understand that, having been beaten up as a freshman.
And well,
in
and
high
it'll be a
school.
great opportunity for any of the incoming freshmen that we have, because they've probably been without, you know, a sport for during this whole time that they've been in elementary school. So, you know, something to boost their morale, you know, encourage them, you know, this, you know, you want to be on this team, you need to make sure that you keep your grades up, and come on, you know, we've got the community behind us, we've got, you know, lots of people supporting us, and, you know, I think that it would be great if we started in the spring. Of course, cost, we just need to know what the cost is, so.
Appreciate your
All right.
report.
No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Very
you
much.
for your time.
Pretty good season, too.
Good job.
Not gonna argue that.
Thank you, Coach. All right. All right, our next information item is SELPA funds and plans.
That was a great presentation. I hate to follow it, but good evening, Board. You know, I'm next.
Where'd you bring us?
So I do. I'm not that exciting though, but I did bring some money. So, a while back in October, I think the money was available, so our SELPA director, she wrote a plan. In that plan, she actually received about $5 million to support Riverside County. In that, Palo Verde Unified District received about $250,000 of that money. We had to write a little grant, put a budget proposal in front, you know, to receive the money. So we have two sections of it, two little pots that came together for us. One of them was for $38,611, and that was for alternative dispute resolution. With that, that's basically training. So what I like to do with that kind of money, and it's not a lot of money, but it's enough money to bring our special ed attorney down here and go back through protocols, procedures, and all those elements, you know, that are just necessary for our assessment staff, so that when they're sitting across the table with either an advocate or somebody that's a little bit contentious, you know, that they have the right languages, you know, as we sit at the table across. So that money is, you know, going that direction in terms of training. Not a lot of money, but good money. The bigger pot is $217,189, and that's for learning loss funding. And I know we get all these pots of money to do a lot of things. This is specific for special ed students. So we've been working with our consultants, and we put together a lot of plans, and I'll be back and I'll bring those plans next time. But with that, you know, it's been very beneficial to work with our consultant to connect things together. And what I mean by that, we're assessing students, or previously we were assessing students independently. Those assessments didn't go anywhere other than just provide data, information, kind of surface information. So what we're working at with now is actually connecting those assessments to instruction. And boy, I tell you, from the time that we started back 4 years ago to where we're at today, and connecting those instructional, you know, activities, we've come a long ways. So again, using this money to connect our SST process, our referral process, our consultants, and again, getting that message into the classroom, these suggestions, the recommendations, all those things that we're working with, this money's going to come in handy. And again, I don't want to say it's free money, but it's money that we can use, you know, in a very good way. Any questions?
Is there a time limit that you have to use the money?
I believe it's a new fund balance program. So
It says carry over to 2022-23.
Okay.
Okay, so that's pretty much the extent of it. Okay, again, it's just good money, and gives us options to do things that we like to do. And again, this is just a presentation in terms of.
Yeah,
you know,
well, any free money is good money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's what I'd say.
Nice.
Okay, no other questions? Thank you, Board. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
There's no strings attached.
All right, any other business? Future agenda items? Meeting adjourned. Next regular meeting, Tuesday, February 15th.